Alright.
Yes.
Like, I guess like a predictor, what do you call it? Materialist, kind of, yeah.
Yo, what's good, people? That's right.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Oh no, floodgate. No.
Sean's finally getting floodgated for once, so no.
Oh, true. Oh no.
Wait, can they hear you, Sean, by the way? No. I don't know. I think your mic's muted on stream, Sean.
Oh, nobody can hear me. Oh,
I
that.
love technical difficulties, right?
I was like, I can't tell, but it looks like they might be muted.
Okay, there we go. Alright. Alright.
Yeah, you're good. You're good now.
Let's bring this up. Let's bring up the window capture, and we're going to bring up list maker here. We can talk about some of the different decks. Actually, you know what? It might be easier to do it this way. We could just go over the decks this way. Now that I think about it. We can go to Pokemon meta and do it this way. And we can discuss the different decks. Alright. Let me get window capture to work. Boom. And let me bring myself up. Alright. Okay. Now, let's go over. We can kind of start from, kind of go, what way should we do this? We can start from the tier list, I guess. And we can discuss the decks.
Okay.
Alright, Sai, what do you think about Executor Celebi? What do we think?
Just Executor and Celebi?
Yeah, that is a deck. See a lot of tops. What do we...
I mean, it's not bad. It's a little bit I would say weak getting going, because if you're only running Executor and Celebi, then you only have 4 basic Pokemon, right? It's just the Executes and the Celebi.
Right.
So most often than not, you're only gonna have like maybe 2 Pokemon in play, like 1 in the active and then maybe Celebi in the back. So it is pretty prone to Sabrina. You can just like kind of like bring in the Celebi and kill it, right? Unless you have like some sort of way of preventing that. But it's not bad. I think it's just you got to play it super safe, or maybe throw in like a few more basics to make sure you don't get Sabrina'd.
Yeah. I think another thing.
Yeah, once Celebi gets going, like there's nothing that can kill it.
Yeah, I think another thing too, Sai, is like if you don't get the execute online early on fast, it's kind of slow to get. It's like,
oh yeah, for sure.
If you lead Celebi, it's like, well, I'm now exposed to the elements.
Yeah.
And Celebi, let's not remember, chat. Let's not forget, Celebi only has a 130 HP unless you cape it But even with a giant cape, it still could get one shot by Palkia. You know,
Yeah.
it's not the best. I think the deck is fine. I would say maybe a rogue tier deck, right side, maybe tier 3.
Yeah, I would definitely say Leafeon Celebi is a little bit higher than that.
Yeah.
For sure.
What do you think, Icy?
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Yeah. I feel like you only really want to run one Celebi with it, right? So that you have a higher chance of opening the execute. But even still, it's a little. If you draw that Celebi, it could be very, very bad. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Okay, so tier 3.
Maybe with the new Iono, spoilers, wink wink.
Yes, with the new Iono. All right, the next deck we can go over is Charizard. Now, Charizard's the only, it's one of the two only fire decks that's really seeing play. This and probably Infernape. With some really random Heatran decks that go around. But other than that, I think the deck is fine. I think Leafeon definitely increases the odds of seeing, hey, Mike Tonic, what's up, bro? I think there is an increasing odds that plant decks are coming into the meta with Leafeon coming around, Celebi's losing play. I did well, I shouldn't say randomly, but I do occasionally run into, like, Superior still Celebi, so I think that's, like, still a thing that still goes around. So, like, you know, you still have that super effective damage with Charizard. There's a new Charizard coming out, if you haven't seen the spoilers yet. You know, get ready for that one. But yeah, Charizard often does take a little bit of time to get online. It's one of its weaknesses. Seeing Moltres definitely has a lot of potential because obviously it's a basic, but you can throw it down. 1 fire energy basically attaches for up to 3, kind of like Misty-like. Any thoughts, Sai? What do you think about Charizard?
Yeah, it's a bit too slow for this meta, I would say, because you typically do see it alongside Moltres, and like if you need energy ramping up, like Dialga's like your go-to nowadays, like Dialga or Manaphy. So that kind of like throws Charizard out the window in terms of like how fast you can get it going at least. But maybe with the new Zard, it could maybe like Moltres might see a comeback. So I can definitely see it, but as far as like tiering goes, nah, I don't think it's close.
Any thoughts, Icy?
Yeah, I think like being a stage 3 evolution, it's pretty rough because all the decks are like really fast nowadays. So you have to, if you don't draw the Charmeleon or you don't draw the Charizard, you could be out of luck.
Yeah, so probably a rogue, I guess. Right, Sai?
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, so we'll put that in rogue. Alright, on to the next deck on the tier list. So I will write down, I'm going to write down some notes here so that way we can go over it at the very end. So rogue, we have Charizard right now. And then up here, we're going to increase this. And then we will have tier 3. We have Egg Celebi. Alright, the next deck is Skarmory. Now, Skarmory is a really cool deck, honestly. Because it's a deck that if you get it online early enough, it could start one-hitting for about 50 damage. If you really want to include the Rocky Helmet, it could be about 70 that way. Because then if they attack your Skarmory, they're going to take the 20 back. And the Magneton engine is so cool to run. You just get a 140 Magnezone HP with a giant cape. It's got 160. Can't get one shot by the Palkia unless they have some like random Giovanni. But other than that, yeah, it's solid. You hit for 110. Skarmory is a really cool deck. I had some really cool win streaks with it on the ladder. What do you think, Sai?
Yeah, I like Skarmory a lot. It's definitely its best friends with like, you know, Dialga and other steel decks, or you know, even on its own is not too bad because once you put a cape or Rocky Helmet on that thing, you're slapping for 50 every single turn. So it gets the pressure on super fast, which I really like, and it only needs 1 energy, so you can start accumulating your energy to the other stuff on your bench while Skarmory kind of does work. So I really like it as a standalone or like in other decks.
Any thoughts, Icy?
Yeah, I think it's like really good in any deck that you can run the steel energy or the metal energy. I think it's called in Pocket. But
yeah,
I mean, I think it's like a pretty decent deck.
I agree. I think with Magnezone and Magneton, just having that universal ability of a lot of your things needing colors. Other than the one lightning energy you really need to attack with your Magnezone, you're generally chilling. So you have that ability to stack your, Steel Energy if you wanted to play that. So you can get your Skarmory online. And then you just basically stack up that Magneton, get all that lightning, electric, whatever you want to call it, energy on it. And then bang, that Magnezone goes in and punches. Another thing that's really good is this deck is a highly free-to-play-ish deck alone. Because if you wanted Skarmory, Skarmory is pretty much a common. The Magnezone engine, not too expensive. Remember, if you are not a whale, you can go into Genetic Apex, you can craft the Magnetons. You will get Magnezone out of your Space-Time Dialga pack. So you can easily get access to those. So very, very good. It's easy to accessibility for new players. And I like it a lot. Also, picking up those Giant Capes and Rocky Helmets as a new player is also very, very good. So I would say it's about a tier 3 deck right now, right, Sai? Definitely can get some wins in against these meta decks.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree.
Alright, so we will keep this at tier 3. So adding in with Eggy X Celebi, we're going to keep Skarmory at tier 3. Alright, next deck we're going to talk about is Darkrai EX Magnezone. Now this deck was originally the best deck, go back one set ago, because if you don't know, you're new to Pocket. Basically, Darkrai EX has the ability of Nightmare Aura. Each time you attach a Darkness Energy to it, you get to essentially hit your opponent for 20 damage to their active Pokemon. And with 3 energy, this thing can attack for 80. So you say, well, how do I get this thing online? That seems kind of slow. Well, no, because you have Druddigon. So basically, you put Druddigon in the active spot, either play a package of Greninja line, or with your Frogadier, or play your Magnemite, Magneton, Magnezone line, get this thing online, or sometimes you could play Weavile Underwood, and then get your Weavile online and start hitting them. Darkrai, in my opinion, is still relatively strong tier 3 deck. I think overall, Darkrai still shines bright when played in a slower played. If your opponent has like a weaker lead, like if they lead into Arceus, it can still be relatively good because they're not going to be attacking relatively fast. You're going to get your Darkrai going. If they lead Dialga, sometimes you can get quite outpaced. However, I think with Boiler Gardevoir, Giratina EX coming into the meta, Darkness Energy might start seeing a little bit more play now. So maybe Darkrai comes back into the fold. What are your thoughts, Sai? I see.
For Darkrai, yeah, it's a little bit predictable, I would say, like because you're kind of just doing the same thing, the chip damage and then Magneton ramping up. But it's still very strong, like predictable or not, you can still get destroyed by it if you're not careful. So it's still very, very strong, I think. But it gets outpaced a little bit now because of like Arceus and Dialga, or like even Manaphy. So it's not like, is it a weak deck or not? But it's more of like a pacing issue, I would say.
Right.
So
what are your thoughts?
It's kind of crazy how even that's getting like outpaced even now. But yeah.
What are your thoughts, Icy? Uh-oh, did we lose Icy?
Oh no. Oh no.
He'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay. So yeah, we can get his thoughts a bit. I still think it's bottom tier 3 side. I still think the deck is still solid enough to be there. Like, I still think it does enough, personally, to kind of get there. Because, like, if you're not careful, this deck can cook you. Especially, like, if they open up really well and you start getting that Magnemite zone online. So, yeah, I'll say tier 3, bottom of it, if you're good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so we'll go Darkrai, Darkrai at the bottom of tier 3. Okay, now, the next deck is Leafeon Celebi. This is the Leafeon variant. Personally, I think Leafeon as a card is really good for the future, because as we get more powerful Grass-type Pokemon, as we see in Pocket, anything that is an energy enabler is super strong. This is the bottom line. There is no other way to say it. anything that enables energy is always going to be good because enabling energy allows you to get ahead of your opponent, and this game is all about pacing. Celebi is Celebi. It is basically a coin flip. It is a, RNG card. It can be high roll you wins. It can also high roll you losses. But yeah, I still think the deck is probably bottom tier 2, high tier 3. The deck is good. It definitely has weaknesses though. The one main weakness is Leafeon only hits for 70. Now, while you do have access to cards like Erica and sometimes Irida, it really depends. Irida is sometimes relatively good in this variant because you could play solely water energy. So, like, you could stack water energy onto your Leafeon because you only need one plant energy to attack, which it generates for you. And then after that, stack that water energy on and then keep healing up your Leafeon. Keep healing up potentially Celebi because all the other energy can be colorless besides the one plant. And then get that going. I still think there are issues. And it's that one big thing is all the base HP without a Giant Cave is 130 to 140. So there is room for these things to get one shot and to be put on the damage clock early. What do you think, Sai?
Yeah, I definitely think Leafeon is one of the best cards that came out in the set. Basically because of what you said, the energy ramping is super fast. But it being on a stage 1 kind of slows it down a little bit because you do need the Eevee first.
Yeah.
So if you don't open up Eevee, you're kind of just like, oh, I guess I'll just stack on Celebi and pray.
Right.
But it's really strong, especially like you said with the water energy and the Iridas and Ericas. Then you're like doubling up on the healing, so you're like never dying basically unless you get one shot.
Yeah.
So it's very strong, and I think it's definitely like tier 1-ish material.
Okay.
I would say.
So we'll stick it in there. We will stick it in. We'll get Icy's opinions right when he comes back. So I'll stick it in the tier 1-ish area. I'll stick it at the bottom of tier 1. I think that's fair. Celebi. Leafeon. I'll put Leaf right here. And yeah, going on to the next deck. We have where are we? Okay. We will go to I think we pretty much covered the bottom. We will go to Arceus with Crobat. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this variant. I know a lot of people like it. The problem with this variant is Crobat is a stage 2, and you have to see that line could sometimes be a long way to get to. Now, granted, it is good. You can start hitting for 50 every turn once you have Crobat and Darkrai in rotation, which is fantastic. However, there are ways to lose. Like, if you get a Darkrai and an Arceus by itself, sometimes you end up sitting there and you're saying, well, now I have no way to really charge up both because there's no real energy ramping in this deck, which is one of the biggest dilemmas. So you're like, oh, well, now I have no way to charge up both, and now I got to sit there and play the slow game while my opponent sits on a Manaphy or Misty's me, and then I pretty much die. And especially, I think this actually gets a little bit worse in the next set because now you have Pachirisu coming out. So Pachirisu is another energy ramper for Lightning energy decks, which Lightning already don't really struggle with energy because, as you know, a lot of their attackers are low energy attackers, a little bit lower on the HP, but overall do a ton of damage. So cards like Electivire, Jolteon, now you're going to get Pikachu EX coming. So yeah, I just don't know. I don't think that this variant's very good because it takes a long time to set up. And I think with we're seeing an increase in energy ramping decks in the meta. Obviously, Leafeon's in the meta. You have Dialga, EX Arceus, and then you have access to other things like now Pachirisu and Manaphy. Yes, let me know what you think, but I think this variant's a bit slow.
Yeah, I agree with you. Any stage 2 deck is usually like you got to be really good in order for like a stage 2 deck to like be like super high tier. Which is why another reason why Superior kind of fell off because like Superior Celebi was kind of broken, but then realized, oh wait, we kind of need Superior. So by the time you like go into the stage 2, like you have to be either lucky with your draws
Hunter,
or
for sure. Well,
get
this uploaded to YouTube, of course. I think
it's good, but yeah, a little slow, like you said.
I think the other thing, the problem with it is that like Superior kind of get washed out because Leafeon came in, and Leafeon just says, "Hey, I'm a stage 1. You know, I can energy ramp up faster, and I don't need
Yep.
to. I don't
Yeah.
need to draw into the stage 2 line and go, yeah, oh, yo, I can do it that way. That's why I kind of got washed out. Plus having like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just feel like that's where kind of like Superior fell off a bit. But yeah, I think that the Crobat variant, this could definitely win, but it takes a lot to get going, and sometimes like. You know, I won't lie, Sai. Sometimes leading Darkrai could suck, or even leading Arceus. So like 2 really bad leads, and you're sitting there like, oh gee, I'm glad I led my Arceus into a Manaphy that's just gonna sit there. I have no way to ramp energy. I have to hope to draw my 1 leaf, because you got to remember this build is also stacked with like a lot of Pokemon. You're running 2 Golbat, you're running 2 Zubat, and then you're running 2 Golbat. So you're already on 6 cards that way. Then you got to fit in your Arceus, your Druddigons that you generally want to lead, your Druddigon, so you can sit there and stall and set up your stage 2. And then your Darkrai. So you're already running about 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11 Pokemon before you even get into anything else. Your 2 Professor's Research, your 2 Pokeball. So you're on 15 cards and you don't have room for 2 Leaf. So because you don't have room for 2 Leaf, you go, oh gee, well I'm glad I led my Arceus that I can't retreat out, so now they can just hit it. Or ramp up with Manaphy. So yeah, like I said, got tier 3 for me. I still think the deck is good. Obviously you have the god himself in there, but you know, tier 3 for me. I think this is like one of the weaker variants personally.
Yeah, I agree with you. The I like the Heatran variant a little bit more than this one. So,
Yeah.
and because the Heatran one is like better, this is definitely not as good. So
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so the next deck we're gonna.
All right.
Oh, we got
So
him back.
you wanna? Yeah, I'm back. So you guys did which decks have you done so again?
We did.
While I was
We did
gone?
Arceus, Crobat, Skarmory, Darkrai, Darkrai with Magnezone, and we did Celebi.
Okay.
Celebi with Leafeon. So we covered those. Okay,
All right.
we're on the next deck now. We are on to Palkia with Manaphy. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Alright, so, any Misty enjoyers in chat? This deck for me is a really strong tier 2 deck. Any water deck is high for me because you have Misty, and as long as Misty is in the game, it just... This game is about energy ramping. Now, I know people are going to say, yeah, but Misty, you still have to flip the heads. When you resolve this card, you win the game. I don't see too many people cry when they resolve a Misty. So basically, if you have Palkia, there's so many good water. It kind of all groups together. There's so many good water, and it's about to get... With Wormadon coming out, it's about to get even worse with Misty. But basically, Palkia, if you don't know, is 4 energy to attack, Dimensional Storm, hits for 150, basically one-shots every Pokemon currently in the meta, unless you have like a giant cape or something like that. But base HP, you one-shots Dialga, and one-shots Palkia Mirror, one-shots an Arceus, with all these without capes, one-shot Celebi with the cape, Celebi with the cape. Yeah, so pretty much every meta-relevant Pokemon this thing is going to one-shot. Another thing about it too is that Manaphy is just so strong. Like, this is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, basic Pokemon in the game. Because, hey, when you go second, you basically get 2 more energy. So you already are +1 energy than you already had, right? So you stick an energy on Manaphy, and then you charge up 2 of your other basics. So you get 1 more energy than you already had. And you already had the energy advantage going second. So you're really +2 energy on your opponent. So having access to Manaphy is just such an incredible card. And then having it power up like a Palkia, and then Origin Form Palkia or Palkia EX, or if you're playing Articuno, or whatever water-based Pokemon you want to choose to play. It's just so strong in my eyes, Sai. What are your thoughts?
yeah, man. I mean, Manaphy kind of changed the game for water decks in general. So Manaphy alone is like tier 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you couple that with Misty's, oh my god, then you're just looking at recipe for disaster. But yeah, man, once we get stronger water stuff, like even Palkia is gonna get power crept sooner or later. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more water decks that come out, as long as Misty's here, they're top tier.
You also have Irida too in the meta, which is great for water. This is even more support.
Mhm.
what are your thoughts, Icy?
Yeah, I think water that as general is probably just like the best type in the game for sure. With all the support they have with Manaphy, Misty, Irida. And another thing is like in Palkia, they have like a mini Palkia that's only worth 1 point, like the origin form Palkia
Yeah.
that a lot of people run.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like, so you can just get 120 HP and it can do up to like 120 damage just by itself.
And if you-
And then when that goes out, you go into your regular Palkia.
Right. I think another thing too, and I feel like this comes up a lot, is if you have Rocky Helmet, then essentially you're dealing 140 if they attack it. So like a thing like in Arceus is if you get a heads, then you already dealt 120, and then they're like, oh gee, well now if I attack it, my Arceus goes down with it. So it's like, you know, and then you're only getting 1 point. They're only getting 1 point. You're getting 2. So that's such a strong thing. Yeah. For me, it's definitely. Do they ban cards at the TCG? I don't know about the TCG. I know in Pocket they haven't done anything yet. So I don't think they will for a while until they see results on the rank ladder. So for everyone who doesn't like Misty, unfortunately, you're in for it on the rank ladder.
Side, do you know how they do it in the TCG?
Okay.
Very very rarely do they ban cards in TCG. What they usually do is they have like a rotating system.
Okay.
So they'll like rotate certain cards to not be available to use anymore, which is kind of weird, but kind of wish Yu-Gi-Oh did that. But yeah, they rotate some cards out and they say like, yeah, you can't run this and this anymore. So it's like in a way it's banning it, but not really because it could come back in the next set.
Is live a pay to win thing, Sai, or no?
No, I think it's completely free to play.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Like at one point, I think they were, like the cosmetics were kind of.
Okay, so I wonder if in Pocket they're gonna be a little bit nervous to set rotate, because the thing is with Pocket is that you have people who invest money into the game, like the whales who want to get all these, you know, immersive rares and crown rares and whatnot. So now I think it's gonna come down to like, I think you're just gonna have to live with it, because, you know, it's like, oh well, now if I get these crown rares, you ban my crown rare. I spent, you know, $1,000 to pull the crown rare Pikachu or crown rare Dialga, whatever, you know, yada yada yada. So I think it's gonna be very interesting to see like if they actually have a ban list.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is I think like on DLM, like they said something about it, like the first set or like the first season will feature Shining Revelry. So is it just gonna be that set, or like that you can only use that for ranked?
No, I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna make it,
and like they'll rotate the sets like after each season to make it like more interesting. Like I could see them potentially doing that. It'd be interesting.
I think that would kind of ruin it for people, because I think that everyone who had built a competitive deck before then, basically you're telling them that their deck can't compete, which I think sets up for a very because
the only reason I say it is because Sai said it works like that in the TCG, so it's like
I think the other
maybe.
I think the other problem too that you come into with that situation is every trainer before then out the door. So like you saw all these trainers like the Iridas, the Misties, and the Leaves. Can you not use them either? Because they would be sets per.
Limit us.
Yeah, I doubt it, but it's just an interesting thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe like will they?
Yeah.
Have like a certain sets or like certain cards.
I don't think they would do that, because Pocket is more of a money game. So like Pocket is more of like, okay, we have to spend X, Y, and Z on the game to get what we want. Unlike something like Live. See, Duel Links is a bit different. I feel like with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a bit different because Yu-Gi-Oh is too far power grip most of the time. So they have to ban things because they make the skills so ridiculous.
Hey, what I'll say about that, if it is a money game and they ban all the previous sets, the only way to get the new sets is with money, Sean.
Yeah, true. That's toxic.
I think it'll probably be like you guys said. So we'll see.
Okay. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Whoopsie. I did not mean to do that. Okay. Alright, now we have what else? Alright, so this is gonna all groups in, so I think we'll keep this aside. I think there's two more decks we need to go over side before we start getting into the new stuff. But Arceus, Arceus with Dialga. I mean,
Yeah.
this deck is just crazy.
Yeah.
Arceus,
Yeah.
Arceus is the god himself. Now I know in real life people were coming when this game came out. Everyone was like, "Oh, Arceus is not going to be good." Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, "Are you kidding?" It's Pikachu EX, but it said Arceus like, "Move over, Pikachu. Get out of here. I don't need Circle Circuit anymore. I have Fabled Luster and I have Ultimate Force that just hits for 130 with 3 bench Pokemon. And guess what? You don't need to be Lightning type either. You could just hit for 130, whatever. You could have random Shaman on the bench and it's fine because Arceus is that broken. Yeah, and then Fabled Luster, obviously unaffected by all special conditions. So you want to poison me, you're done. You want to put me to sleep, you're done. You want to paralyze me, you're not doing it. You want to burn me? Nope, because I'm broken. And then you have Dialga, and I remember when Dialga came out in Space Time, it was actually my favorite Pokemon, but Dialga was kind of weak when it came out initially because it really wasn't anything to use it with unless you wanted to use it like random little Licky deck, like the Licky Lick. You really weren't powering up anything, but now you have the god himself, which means that if you say, "Hey, I want to ramp up my Arceus," well, then I can attack on the next turn. Next turn, I could just retreat out to Dialga by itself, or I could leaf it out and just say, "Hey, I can attack with Arceus 3 for 130 now," and then the 30 you get with Dialga, and then the 3 for 130. Pretty much, you're gonna one-shot a lot of take out a lot of Pokemon with 2-shotting them, and then you have things like Mew, which Mew solos a Palkia by itself. Because it says, "Hey, what if I copied your Dimensional Storm and I didn't have to actually pay for my attack?" Yeah. So this deck is, in my opinion, one of the top 2 decks in the game. We'll go over the second deck in a second, but this deck is just too good. Sigh. It really is.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's crazy because like, it's people don't love running to only EX decks, but that literally is just a pure EX deck in a sense, like not including like Shaman Skyform, which like you don't have to run it, but you can. Makes it a little bit easier, but you could just run double Dialga, double Arceus, and you should be fine. Because Leaf is a thing, and just ramping up energy is so fast. So by the time you get, by like turn 4, you already have a full Arceus ready to go, which is like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
So
this is one of those decks where
crazy.
energy ramping just gives you whoever goes second with this deck is just gonna have so much advantage. So if you find yourself in the mirror match, just go second and lead Dialga. That's all I gotta say.
Of course. Yeah. All the time.
Yes.
I mean, going for sucks.
Yes.
Always.
And now you
Toxic.
It's toxic. And next we have another, what I feel is another one of the best decks, Lucario. And this deck is so strong. Mainly because you have Arceus in the meta. So Sudowoodo can say, "Hey Arceus, go poop yourself."
Hello?
And so Fighting Headbutt deals 20 damage. You're going to say, "Man, this card has sweet cheeks." But hold on, if you have an EX Pokemon in the active spot, deal 30 more, so that's 50. If they are of Arceus, that's weakness to fighting energy. That's another 20, so that's 70. If you have Lucario set up, that's another 20, that's 90. And all of a sudden, you start hitting 90 damage with this tree. Now, the one downside to it is it does have a 2 retreat cost, so it's a little bit steep to get rid of, but most of the time, that's where you have the X-Beats, that's where you run to Leaf in the deck, because the Leafs allow you to, if you're playing Leaf, Leaf can allow you to retreat out of Sudowoodo quite easily, and it only needs 1 energy to attack. Which, again, if you're going up against Arceus, then 1 attack for 90 is obviously really broken, so I'll need to say that. And it actually has an 80 HP. So again, if you're going up against Arceus, then they want to attack you with early things, they're not going to be able to damage you with early things. So, very broken to Arceus. Then you obviously have your 2 Riolos, which will evolve into Lucario, which, if you don't know, Fighting Coach does all your fighting Pokemon do 20 extra damage. And then you have your Fossil, your Skull Fossil into your Granados, into your Rampardos line, which basically makes everything hit for 130. So yeah, Sai, thoughts? Pretty broken, right?
Bro, Lucario and Rampardos is the reason I cogged twice. Like it's like it's easy mode basically. It's so strong, bro. It's so strong. Like you said, because RCS is a thing too. It's even better because he's all over the place. So
Yeah.
you just kind of go in with weakness damage all the time, and they do so much work. It's so powerful.
Yeah, and I see your thoughts.
Yeah, I think the main strength of the deck is that like all of the Pokemon are 1-point Pokemon. So like they have to knock out 3 to win, while you only have to knock out 1 and 1 EX.
Yeah.
Another one another thing to like note is that Marshadow can do like 100 damage, 120 with Lucario.
Yeah.
And that's like insane. It can basically almost like one-shot some Pokemon. So it's like just if they knock you out, they have to deal with that Marshadow. Yeah, I think it's like it's like tier 1 / tier 2, right around that level.
Easy tier 1 deck, I feel.
The only issue is that you can't search out the fossils. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing that slows down the deck, or else it would be like tier 0 for sure.
Yeah, so I'll put it at the bottom of tier 1. I guess we could do that. And then we'll keep as the tier 1, we will keep up yeah, Arceus is the best deck, obviously. Arceus Dialga, which obviously gets a good view of the best deck. Now, the one other thing I want to go over are some of the new stuff. Now, the new stuff is where this is going to really shine. So, right away, we see... let's start by going over some of the EXs. So, Charizard EX, brand new. This just got leaked today. And it's the new form of Charizard. It has Stoke. Hello? Take 3 energy from your energy zone. It attaches to Pokemon. And then you have Steam Artillery, which is 5 energy for 150. Okay, here's my problem with this. It's a stage 2. And yes, while it has the Moltres ability to just attach multiple energy as an energy recursion and energy, addition. The problem with it is that you have to wait for a stage 2 to stack energy. If you still have the problem of finding Charmeleon anyway. And then, this hits for 150. So by the time that this thing hits for 150, your opponent may have a giant cape already. So what's your thoughts, Si?
Oh, which one was it?
The new Charizard.
Yeah, I like it. It's not crazy. Like it's not like making me go like, oh, I'm gonna drop all my decks and make this Charizard deck. But I think it definitely is better than the old one, only because if you get stuck with just Zard, you can kind of ramp up energy by yourself. So you're not like a sitting duck,
Yeah.
and you have to like depend on Moltres to do all your heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. It does require a lot of energy for its 150, which I think might be nullified with like Giant Cape and stuff.
My only problem with it, like my one big issue is that like you have to. It's a stage 2 that you still have to sit there and spend a ton of time ramping it up. So like you have to use a turn to like ramp this thing up to like 5 energy, and your opponent's like, fine, well I'll just attack you with like a Magnezone or something like that, and go, okay, you lose 110. And Fire really don't have a good way of healing themselves, so it's like, oh well. Now I just died to him just getting 2 Magneton attacks, and I'm kind of dead.
Yeah.
So it's like
one thing I would say that we would have to keep in mind is we don't know what the rest of the set looks like.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
So there could be like some
Charmeleon,
broken card that says, So kind of have to take all these new cards with like a grain of salt and give them the benefit of the doubt, I guess.
Yeah, on base form, I think it's okay. I would say, what would your rating be out of 5? Let's see. I see. What would you rate this out of 5? Give me a 1 to 5.
The Zard?
Yeah.
3.
I agree.
Yeah, Icy's being nice. I'm gonna say 2.5.
It's toxic.
Okay. It depends. Like if the new set has anything to like help stage 1 go into stage 2.
Yeah.
And as well as like we might get a new Charmander and Charmeleon.
Yeah.
Like maybe those cards actually do something.
Yeah.
We don't.
Honestly, I can see like a Charmander or Charmeleon saying, "Hey, like Stoke, on that card, right? So you can ramp up on the Charmander before you even do anything."
Right. But
then it would be pretty damn good.
Right.
But
this was like on a Charmeleon instead. Like Yeah, you can
I
actually
think
do
the
stuff.
fact
Yeah.
that it has to be
Mm.
on Charizard, and you're essentially waiting like to evolve into stage 2, then Stoke, then boot, then attack. It's like,
Mhm.
eh. So the Charmander and Charmeleon have to be pretty good, or there has to be something to support fire. Because like, I'm not gonna lie, for the most part, fire decks have been kind of underwhelming in Pokemon Pocket. Like, other than Infernape, might have been the best thing. Like, Charizard was great when it came out, but after that, it's like, oh, well, Mew came out, so now everyone just copies my attack anyway. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
goody, now everyone just one-shots my Charizard anyway. So, it's really cool. I love Charizard, but it's like,
Right.
All
So I
right.
guess
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
That's, uh,
yeah, go ahead.
all right. The real question is, are you guys gonna wail for the shiny version?
I mean,
Well,
I didn't
I don't
wail.
know.
I didn't wail in the kid. It's just like the crown just came to me for Arceus, so you know.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Shell's just gonna pull it naturally. Like, I wonder, like, are the shinies gonna be harder to pull? Or I'm assuming they
I
will
don't
be,
know.
but
I don't
really
know.
don't
I
hope
can
they
see
make
right
it as
off
bad
the
as
bat.
Browns.
Maybe they make this where it's like 2 different packs. So maybe this is your 2 packs, right? Your Space Time Transcendence side. Maybe Charizard's the cover of one, and this is the cover of the other.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's
because
kind of what I'm
that
thinking.
way, like, yeah. Plus, it'll make pulling things a little bit easier, I guess, for like content purposes.
Yeah, I think
But
the shiny,
if it's
the
one
shiny
big set, it might
Charizard,
be.
yeah, the shiny Lucario looks so good. Both of them really do.
Yeah.
Okay,
And like the one stars
Yeah.
don't look too bad. It's just that the
they don't
shiny.
look too bad, but yeah, they don't look too bad. Okay,
wait, we have it. Yeah, go ahead. But what were you gonna say this time? My bad.
Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. As we rate these, let's just be, so we don't like repeat ourselves over and
Yeah.
over again. We don't know what the rest of the set looks
Right.
like, so
Yeah.
we're just gonna do it on base value,
Yeah.
just on what the card
right,
is.
right,
That-
right,
that's all.
right. I think the other thing too is like Wiglet is kind of like, well, we didn't get there yet, but we'll go over this. That's this Lucario EX. So 3 fighting energy, Aurora Spear hits for 100. It also does 30 damage to a bench Pokemon. So not only do you get to hit them for 100, you get to freaking Hitmonlee them too. What's your thoughts,
Right.
Ty? There's the new dual avatar feat.
Toxic. So here's the thing, because you can't copy names, right? You can't use the same name Pokemon.
Right.
So you can't run this like I mean, you could run this Lucario with the other Lucario, but if you're focusing your deck on Lucario EX, then you'll probably run double Lucario EX.
Right.
So if you're gonna run one of each, I could see it doing something. But as on its own, if you minus
Yeah.
out the other Lucario, I
Yeah.
think it's a little bit weaker.
Yeah, and the thing is, fighting energy really don't have a ramper. That's kind of the problem too.
Yeah.
So like, you kind of have to like vomit everything into this, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like the thing, one of the advantage to fighting decks right now is that Rampardos only takes like 1 energy to attack, and you have
Yep.
Sudowoodo that only takes 1 energy to attack. But this kind of takes like 3 energy to get in for 100. Where I feel like even like something like fighting wise, like Rampardos EX, not Rampardos, Garchomp EX can still do a lot for like a 150. Granted, it's a stage 2, but for 1 energy, you
Mhm.
can still like start punching things on the bench. So like if you really wanted to do like the 50 on the bench, that could do it for you. I don't know. This is kind of like comparable to like Garchomp, I think, Sai, in some ways. Like Garchomp EX, like whichever one you want to play.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's okay. What would your rating be out of 5, Sai?
I'm gonna have to hit him with another 2.5.
I'll say 3.
All right. So do you get to choose which Pokemon you hit on the bench, or is it random?
It's a good question. I think you choose.
I think you choose. You choose. Yeah.
All right, if you choose, I actually think like I like Sai's idea of running 1-1, having this card be like as your finisher, like
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Because like deal damage to the bench like is actually like very strong in my opinion. So
think if
I'd probably
you
give it a 3.
Stall with this with Hitmonlee, then this could come in because like if you lead Hitmonlee and you just have Lucario on the bench, then you could just like damage them early, and then they're not going to be ready for this. This kind of finishes it off.
Right. It's a little bit faster than Garchomp, so I do like that
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Next is Pichu.
Wait, Sean. What are you rating these? I don't know if you rated them.
I gave Charizard a 3 and I gave Lucario a 3.
Okay, so I'm the
Okay.
harsh critic between all of us.
All right. I mean, honestly, I could go give this up 3.5. Honestly,
Damn.
I think this could be like pretty
Okay.
decent.
Okay. Yeah, Starlight. Lono is here. Pocket became TCGL. So gradually I hardly noticed.
Yeah, I wouldn't run two. I would run
Yeah,
one,
I
like
think
one and one probably.
one of this is probably fine. Running two of this is gonna be crammed in your hand. I feel it's not gonna do good.
Yeah.
Next is Pachirisu. So Plasma 10. Take one energy, lightning energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. All right, I'm gonna put this short. This is a better version of Electivire, which just stacks energy on itself. This is an easy 4 out of 5 for me. It's not a 5 because it's still Wish.com Manaphy, but it's very, very effective because you got to think of it this way. Pokemon right now, Lightning Energy on Pokemon is generally, how should I put it? It's very low cost to attack. So because it's low cost to attack, hey, you can just pretty much get things ramping up really quick. And you also have Magneton package. Because you have the Magneton package, you have Dawn. So you could just say, let's say you go turn 2, right? Turn 2, you lead your Pachirisu. You lead your Magnemite on the bench. Then you go and say, all right, I'm going to stack one up with my Pachirisu. So I put an energy on, I don't know, a Pikachu X that you may have on the bench as well. So you could do that. And then the following turn after, you go and you activate your Magneton. You Magneton, you attach an energy on Magneton, you evolve in, and then you retreat out, bring back in the Pikachu that you already put an energy on with Pachirisu. Then you attach a lightning energy, then activate your Dawn, and then you have 3 on Pikachu, and then whack, 150 right off the bat. So like I said, this could be very quick to get a 150 damage in. The one thing that I think with Pachirisu that I'm a huge fan of is this thing could get Pikachu 150 damage in faster than Palkia can. That's the one thing I will say. Because you gotta think Palkia makes you discard 3 energy anyway. Now, of course, there's Misty. But for the general purpose, this thing can get 150 in fast. So if they're not fast enough to get a cape on something like an Arceus or a Celebi, then they can get one shot pretty fast. Or even a Darkrai that's just sitting in the active spot for some reason. So like I said, Sai, electric energy continues to be quick and fast aggression, in my opinion. So what's your thoughts, Sai?
Yeah, man, I agree. Great Pokemon. It's essentially Manaphy for electric decks from what we're seeing. Obviously, it's not as strong as Manaphy because it can only attach to one of the bench Pokemon, but it's still pretty good because, like you mentioned, with the Magneton, you're already kind of, getting energy going. So that plus like Dawn is going to be super strong now. So I can just imagine just like a Magneton patchy just base build, and then you build everything else around that, because of your energy ramping is going to be so good.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's funny about this too is like if the 10 damage actually comes up, which it can, because if you have like an Arceus if they have like an Arceus in the active spot, then you already take the 10 away, so like their giant cape doesn't matter if you hit them with Pikachu now. So like that random 10 could actually come up. It's like, oh hey, we get Giovanni for free now, son.
Yeah. Plus you get like Star plays opened up, so
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, water's still going to be pretty popular as well. Of course, like the extra, like 20 damage, that's like a 30 damage for one. It's not bad. Plus, you get it. But yeah, I think this could be like really, really good with Magneton. Like, I don't even know if you would need Pikachu in it as well. Like, if you just run like Pachirisu with just Magneton, like setting that up like very fast.
Yeah, I feel like Pikachu would be good as a one-of. Just because it's a it's a 150 one shot your opponent. That's the thing, and how fast you can get online. Because of the line I talked about, you can get this thing online by turn 2, and if you get this thing online by turn 2, you just like dead. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah. And the only problem is like with the Pikachu, it's like a one attack and done though, right?
I mean, but here's the thing, right? You also have Volknier. Right, so if you run Electivire, that could be a thing. Another thing, what I feel is like, even if you have the one attack and done, you still have Magneton on the bench. So you're gonna follow up with Magneton. So that could be your follow up play to that. But the one attack and done might be enough. like think about this, Icy. Think about Palkia, right? Palkia it still takes 3 energy off when you attack. So you're still at that same disadvantage when Palkia became the meta. But this can get online faster than Palkia can. Which, if they don't get the cape quick enough, this could be really punishing. And even if they don't have the cape, even if they do have the cape and you attack something like a Darkrai or an Arceus, then you still, the 10 damage becomes relevant because they're only at 1 at 40 anyway. So, like, if you deal that 140, then they're kind of stuck at that point, to that range where you're going to one-shot them with Pikachu anyway. So you generally have that with the Magnezone backed up. So I don't think Pikachu will be played at 2, because obviously, like you said, it's a one and done. But I think as a one-of that people could see early on as, like, a threat to get going with your Pachirisu. Could be something, because Magnezone can pretty much Magneton can pretty much stack energy on itself anyway. So, yeah, that's what I think. I would personally give...
That's fair, that's fair.
I would personally, like I said, Pachirisu is a 4 out of 5 for me.
Yo, I'd honestly go 4.25 for Pachirisu. There we
Decide
go.
what's your rating. You're the harsh critic here.
Oh, I didn't know we can do like smaller decimals.
You can do whatever you want in this.
Yeah. I was playing. Yeah, definitely, it's good. I would say a solid
4.99999.
4.4 out of 5.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I'm not
Like,
gonna...
if it did what Manaphy did, right, with the double stack, I think that would push it above, like, 4.55 for me.
Oh, that if it had the double stack, it would be a 5 out of 5.
Yeah. It does have higher HP than Manaphy, which is nice. That's really cool. So you don't
I
have to,
think the other thing too, like with Pachirisu, is like if this double stack, this would be like push electric decks to be like tier 1 again, like back when Pikachu first came out. And the reason I say this so confidently is because at that point you're just like gonna one shot everything. You're gonna just get everything so online anyway, so quickly. Like yeah. So yeah, definitely a 4 out of 5 for me. I'm not gonna go over Tatsu Girl because this we don't know.
Oh, I mean, we might as well go for Pikachu here, right? Since we've already been talking about it the whole time.
Alright, Pikachu.
Yeah, what would you rate Pikachu? What would you rate it, Sean?
I would give it a solid 3.5 out of 5, honestly. I think the card is pretty dang strong. Just because right out of nowhere, this is gonna hit for 150. They're not gonna, even with the cape, like this thing, I know people are gonna say, oh, but you have to discard all your energy, but I mean, with combos, this thing will combo well with Volknier. You could argue the same thing for Palkia anyway. Like, Palkia forces you to discard all your energy regardless. But the one thing that this does have going for it is a retreat cost of 1. So, like, all this does, all you need is, like, an X speed, and you get this thing right out of dodge. But like I said, this is going to be so threatening with Pachirisu in different ways that Palkia wasn't, because Palkia Manaphy does not deal damage. This thing will actually deal damage. So if you go into a Darkrai and hit them for 10, which will be the most valuable 10 that you ever hit them for, suddenly their giant cape is not going to matter. They'll be like, uh-oh, well now I can get one shot by this thing. So like, it's pretty good, honestly. It's pretty good. I would say you're probably going to run some giant capes into this because you're going to want to get this thing up to 140 to somewhat protect it from getting hit early on, but the 120 HP is kind of like dangerous, but I still think this card is still a 3.5. I think it's going to be a one-of in electric decks. I think it's still solid. What's your guys' ratings?
I guess I'll go first. I think, honestly, like, again, it really depends on what's in the set. But for me, it's really looking at like a solid 3 out of 5 right now.
Yeah.
Only because, like, I could totally see people being like, oh, we have the Pachirisu? Well, we could just run the old Pikachu EX, and then just start doing damage quicker, instead of, getting up to the 3 energy, discarding all your energy, and possibly not even one-shotting something, right? With, like, giant cape
That's also a possibility.
And it has really low HP too, which is the other issue. But it's not a bad Pokemon by any means.
Yeah, I'd also give it a 3. I think that's like a very, like, everything you just said makes sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we also have, like you said, Circle Circuit, which is going to be... That old Pikachu is going to be super good, too. Being able to deal, like, mini Arceus almost. Alright, next we have... Sprigatito. I hope I said that right. Cry for Help. Oh, that's what Sai does every time he plays Tactiles. Toxic!
Hello?
I'm only kidding, Sai. Put one random plant Pokemon from your deck into your hand. Ah, it's toxic.
Actual toxic.
Yeah, this is just strong. It's basically Caterpie. I mean, this card is good. It's a retreat card. I mean, obviously we don't know the evolutions yet. So, like, Caterpie obviously has Butterfree and you can start healing up, but we don't know what this can do yet. We don't know the evolutions. But right away, any plant Pokemon means that this can add EXs. This doesn't add a basic. This adds any. So, like, for any stage 2 decks that want to get online, the odd thing is this might make Superior better, because now you could just start adding.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, at stage 2 lines to your hand. So yeah, this card is a very solid 4 out of 5 for me. And it gives plant decks another lead, which I think is a good thing. And so, depending on like if you're playing like Superior or some other these decks that you don't really have the best lead for, yeah, this is a solid 4 out of 5. And we still haven't seen any of the evolutions yet. I definitely want this. I definitely, this was the right cry for help, Sai. What do you think?
I 100% agree. Easy 4 out of 5. I would give it more points.
But you don't
but
know what,
again, like you said, we don't know what the other stuff does. Like if the stage 2 name, by the way, is Meowscarada.
Okay.
It's from the Scarlet and Violet set from Gen 8. So that's gonna be the stage 2. We don't know obviously how strong it's gonna be, but this is already great for just any grass deck
but also,
in general.
too,
So, yeah,
if you had like the stage 2s, the nice thing about this is this could pretty much help get itself online. So like we don't really have stage 1 Pokemons that say, hey, help get to the stage 2. It's more like you just draw it and you hope to see the other pieces. And it's like now it's like, oh well, now we have something that can help the consistency. Love consistency boost.
Right.
What do you think, Icy?
All right, so what is the difference between, like, why isn't Caterpie as good as this then? That's what I'm wondering, if doesn't it do the same thing?
Caterpie only searches basics, right, Sai? Or am I wrong?
No, I think Caterpie also does that for grass, but the reason we like the Sprigatito a lot more is because one has higher HP.
It does. Okay, it does.
It has a little bit higher HP, which is nice. Two, it's gonna be it's gonna have a stronger evolution line instead of Butterfree.
Yeah.
Because Butterfree isn't like too threatening. That's the problem. Like, yeah, it's just
that's what I was wondering. I was just like, I'm sure you guys say this, but like we already have Caterpie, and it kind of does the way you're saying. So it's like, would you rate a Caterpie at a 4 out of 5 as well? But yeah, I think like it depends on how good its evolutions are.
Right.
But like this is like a way to like search the stage 2 and the stage 3. So this has like the one benefit for like grass for Sprigatito evolution line.
We're talking about a bug from Viridian Forest versus a starter Pokemon. So it's like,
the
starter is gonna be good. So.
Now we have Sai's favorite Pokemon, Pinsir. Hello? So Pinsir has gotten an upgrade, Sai, from its
oh boy, sadly it's still garbage. But anyway.
It has Gillicini Rush 50 times, flip a coin. Guillotine. Okay. Flip a coin until
you get... want Spanish is
Guillotine Rush. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 40 more damage for each head. Okay, and it requires 3 energy for 90. Sai, this card gets a 0 out of 5 for me. This card stinks.
0 out of 5. Wow.
I mean, think about it.
It's a stage 2, right? Or like only one evolution, right?
It's a basic. It's a basic. But here's the problem: if you're playing this, why wouldn't you just play Celebi? I mean, I guess it's a basic, but isn't Celebi just like a much better?
I mean, it's not an EX Pokemon, so there's that. So it does take one more energy.
Benjamin writes, DL is so trash right now. Toxic.
Oh boy.
I would at least give it like probably like a 2. But not anything like higher than that.
The problem is, like, if you don't flip a heads, this thing only does 50 damage. So this thing becomes like
Yeah, maybe like what's like a Leafeon, maybe it could be
Yeah, I
alright,
can make a
but
deck out of it, but I'm gonna tell you something. If you flip a heads on this thing and you get this thing set up, boy, you're gonna be sad. And it only is.
I mean, it's basically you can one shot some Pokemon with it though too. Like if you flip 2 heads, that's 130 damage. You know, not bad.
Wait, no, it only.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to flip 2 heads to get 130. Yeah, I guess it's not bad, but you have to flip them consecutively. So if you flip like a tails
Mhm.
first, well.
Well, I mean, just flip 3 heads like Sean, and you one shot anything.
Exactly.
You know.
Wait, this might be a 5 out of 5 in my hands, right, Si? The way I look,
Toxic.
the way I look like.
Or you can flip the first tails like me, and it's gonna be 50 every time.
Wait, Si, wait till I make a video on this and be like, yo, pins are so broken because pins can one shot.
Oh boy, and it starts doing like 500 damage because you can't stop flipping it.
It's toxic. Next we have Beedrill. Now I think this card is pretty solid. It does 2 for 80. Now this is a stage 2, but again, if we have ways to thin the deck, we don't know what the other ones will do if we get the other pre-evolutions of the set. But Crushing Spear for 80 and it discards a random energy for your opponent's active Pokemon. This could really be annoying depending on how fast you get this on. What do you think, Si?
Yeah, it's on a stage 2, so it'll take a little bit of setup. But my first thought when I saw this thing, I'm like, damn, why is this HP so damn high?
Yeah.
On a freaking bee Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
it's pretty good. The attack is low maintenance, so you can start giving to your other Pokemon, energy and stuff. So
it's nice.
it's not bad. I kind of like it.
Also, keep in mind we have Erica, so Erica is still, going to be really good with things like this at 170 health. Erica is going to make this thing as hard as to kill. And also the thing is, like, if we could get like the stage 2 online really super fast, it's going to be really annoying for your opponent to deal with because you're going to already have this thing quickly online to attack with, and then you're just going to keep discarding energy off of it. So if they're running something like Palkia, you could just be quietly annoying and just like, okay, take your crap away. So this is really solid. What do you think, Icy?
Yeah, I think like discarding energy is like obviously one of the most annoying things because it feels like your opponent can never set up their Pokemon. But yeah, I think the weakness is that it's a stage 2, so you need to go from a Weedle to a Kakuna to a Beedrill.
Yeah.
If there's like way to make it consistent, I think it's gonna be really good. If not, it can be good. It's just will we have that? But the main
3 out of 5 for now because we don't know.
Yeah, the main thing, like being 170 HP is pretty good. So yeah, I would say like around a 3.2, like around there. Yeah.
All right, next we have Bibbarrel. We have Woody the Woodpecker's upgrade. and the Angry Beaver. Remember the Angry Beaver side? He looks like the Angry Beaver.
Yes.
Carefree Press 100. He heals 30 from this Pokemon. All right, so say hello to colorless Venusaur EX without evolving. That's pretty much what this thing is. So if you like Venusaur EX and you don't want to evolve into it, then he's here. Honestly, the thing is, this card wouldn't be that bad for me. Oh, the 3 retreat cost kind of sucks. But
yeah, the 3 retreat's gonna be rough.
Pretty much when he's here, he's here to stay.
Right, this is just like the first thing I thought was like, yep, this is just more Dialga decks with this guy.
Yeah.
And like it's on a stage 1, so it's pretty okay. So it's not too hard to go into it, but like, it's just whatever. It's just average.
It's okay. I think this is like a 2.5.
I feel like you'd rather play Lickitung than Barrel, honestly. I don't know.
That's toxic.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
You're gonna put a lick. Oh, that's toxic.
I feel like dealing damage might be better than healing yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
the Licky
I
is
think
better.
the problem with this too is it's like, okay, this costs 4 energy to attack, and then it's like laughs at Arceus. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
like Arceus goes.
I guess
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you go, John.
You're good.
Alright, I was just gonna say, I guess it is 1 less retreat cost than Licky, so that's good.
It is. I think that like I'll be
Awesome.
real. Like, if you're playing any Dialga deck competitively, it's probably with Arceus.
Yep.
It's like this thing comes out. It's like, okay, great. Well, I deal 100 and I heal for 30, which is fine. I mean, but you know, Dialga, you still have to run the Steel Energy, which is still a thing, because you really need the Steel Energy to get the Metallic Turbo on anyway. So it's not like you're gonna start sticking this thing on America. The only other way is like if you play this with like Manaphy and Irida, but then I still like feel like it's gonna be so slow to get going. By the time you even get to that point, it's like, oh wow, all the things I could have done before even getting this thing online. This could be funny as like some meme deck, I feel, side like for a video, but like overall, this thing is just like,
yeah.
Like 2
Wait, so the stage one, the stage one half, right? Or is that like
the stage
how does that
one?
work, Sean?
The stage one does half. It's actually interesting.
So I think that might actually be beneficial. Like if you go stage one half and then evolve.
Yeah, the stage one does half. I just made a video on it too on YouTube. It does half.
Yeah, I think I saw
so
that.
that might be beneficial now that I think about it. But the problem is that like you have to bring it to stage one, and it's only gonna have 2 energy because it only has 2 energy to attack. And then when you evolve in this thing, then it's like, all right, well now I've already committed. Now I have 1 whole turn of not being able to attack with this thing. It's like, all right,
you'll
go ahead and
get a
damage.
beating before you get the enough energy on it.
That's the problem.
You beat up this beaver real quick.
That's toxic. That's not cruelty. That's actually toxic.
I feel like Bidoof is better than this thing, honestly.
It's toxic.
Yeah, I mean, you only get 1 point for knocking Bidoof out,
So,
and
Sai,
having like pretty strong.
You don't like the angry beaver, Sai? That's toxic.
Nah, bro, it's getting a 2 for me, Chief.
It's getting a 2.5. I'll be kind.
I'll give it a 2.1, I guess. You know why not?
Next,
Slightly higher.
next is the evil dolphin, Palladian Clogasine. All right, and now this has 2 darkness energy, Venoshock for 60 times. If your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 60 more damage. Now, this would be good, except the guy himself is in the meta, and it does have a 3 retreat cost. It could get damage online insanely fast. And hey, look, Darkrai is also a meta calling Pokemon as well. That's Dark, hello. You can use this like wheezing and stuff like that. But the problem is the guy himself says no. you know, Sai, that's gotta be
Basically.
So at that point, then it's like you're doing 2 for 60. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
I think if
It's
Arceus was in the meta, this would be good.
I was literally gonna say that. Yeah, if Arceus is around, then this card's kind of dead. But if Arceus is like off the meta or some other deck becomes really really strong, then this card's honestly a solid like 4 for me.
Yeah.
Because couple this with wheezing and like you
Yeah.
can start doing stuff by like turn 2.
Yeah.
So,
And then you couple in the poison along with this, so you have the 120 plus the poison that would like. You can even have like fun with this with Toxic Rogue and stuff like that, and start really like poison ripening them. The problem is, like I said before, yo Tempest, what's up? The problem is, like I said before, the god himself is in the meta, and because the god himself is in the meta, you guys just fuck you.
All right, one question I have is like, is the stage
It's stage
the
one.
pre-evolution is that gonna oh this is is the pre-evolution gonna poison? If it poisons, then that could actually be like very strong.
that's true. That's true. It could. We
It
could see that.
is,
Yeah.
But if Arceus is everywhere, that would be my one scare with this, is because Arceus pretty much just nullifies this card altogether. That's kind of my issue with it.
I mean, yeah, but if you can get it on fast
Yeah, you
enough,
gotta
like
get
if you're
on
going
fast
turn
enough,
2,
yeah.
you'll be going attacking into Dialga, so that, like they won't want to start with the Arceus.
Right.
It just depends how fast you can get on.
Interesting. If you can get this on fast enough, this card could be really nice. I'm gonna give it a solid 3.5 out of 5 from Sai. I think this could go up depending on how the meta shifts and everything like that. But I like this card a lot. I definitely want to make some decks around it. What do you think, Sai?
Yeah, I agree, man. I gave it a solid 4. That's given the fact that Arceus isn't here.
What do you think I say?
But
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5, but I'll give it a 4.2 if the stage 1 poisons.
Yeah.
So
All right, we already went over Pikachu. Next is is we'll get
Oh boy, not this one, Sean.
we'll get trio. All right, I'm gonna be real with you. Pop out throughout. Why is it? What is this attack name? Pop out throughout. All right, one of your opponents, a Pokemon chosen at random, does that 50 damage to it 3 times. For each Pokemon, like I said, does 50 damage. This is basically Dragonite, but it goes on faster. I'll be real, this card is a 4.5 out of 5 for me. And the reason why is because this card is going to crap out of you, honestly. Because you're going to have this online potentially by turn 2. Or by turn 2 because of your turn 2. Because Hello Misty is here. And anytime you have really good EX with water, which water is the best ramp up in the game, because you have Manaphy, you have Misty, you have all this. This card could be instantly meta. It only has a 1 retreat cost too, which is really insane. All you really need this to do is just like randomly hit this for 100 out of your... But think about this. If you play this by turn 2, and you randomly hit them for 100 out of your Pokemon active spot, then you've already done like 100 for 2, which is ridiculous. And then you've hit them for 50 on a bench, which makes Cyrus that much more broken. So you could easily run this with things like Palkia, Origin Form Palkia if you want, because that's already going to have extra damage to it. So yeah, you can pair it up with that. You can pair it up with Articuno. You can pair it up with basically any water Pokemon that you want, Palkia, whatever you want to do. But this thing is quite good for me, honestly. I see this card being very annoying in the meta. It's going to be sacky as heck, too. What do you think, Sai?
Yeah, I agree. It's this card is gonna basically say, hey, you better set up a full bench if you don't want to get sacked. But like, it's
no more
crazy,
holding
like,
cards for Sean.
yeah, because like 140 HP is a lot. Plus, Giant Cape, then you're kind of surviving a lot of stuff.
It only
and
has
only
a-
1 retreat cost
Yeah.
is kind of crazy
Yeah,
too.
that's kind. And you don't
Like, why
have to
is the retreat
discard
cost
it.
so low?
You don't have to discard any energy off this thing. So like, you could take a hit, bring this thing out to the bench, and then your opponent has to sit there and worry about this thing later on. Like, as you start like killing off their crapola, then it's like, oh wow, this thing could just come back out, put another energy on, and go whack again.
Yeah, this is the most obvious like double Cyrus package I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And the thing is, the stage 1 actually does 30 random damage to anything as well for 1 energy. So like you get it going turn 2. You get to do the damage.
Yeah, I feel like too that's not even gonna come up that much. People are just gonna be like, all right, well, you know what? I'm gonna put Woogie on the bench, and then Wiglet on the bench, and I'm just gonna ramp it up with Manaphy. And then the thing that concerns me the most is Misty. Obviously, with this thing, because you're just gonna Misty out, like you're gonna have 2 energy on this, and then you just get 1 Misty for heads. It's like, all right, time to party.
I feel like this is the first time I think I'm saying this, but like I feel like they should have made the energy cost a little bit more on this guy.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Like maybe 4 energy instead of 3.
I also feel like too that this should have been maybe a stage 2 because of how this comes out and how Dragonite already is and how it's like really difficult to get Dragonite. But this feels like it's so much easier Dragonite to get on the field. And don't forget, because it's water, you have Irida. So Irida's like, oh yeah, I'm never killing this thing. Sweet.
Yeah, like if they made it 1 energy costlier and then it does 60 damage 3 times, I think that would be better.
Yeah.
Like more fair than
like,
what it's doing right now.
All right, Sai, get ready to stack up your bench because he's coming for you.
Yeah, and then it also the 1 retreat cost is so crazy. It's like you just retreat it whatever you want.
You just retreat this thing
That's
wherever
insane.
you want. It does 50 damage. I feel like this thing is going to be like... See, water... I mean, they had early game things. You have Articuno, obviously, that did this. But, like, Articuno wasn't even this crazy. Because like, the one thing is, like, you can game plan around an Articuno. Because that was an early game, like, 3 energy attacker. Like, they can get a line turn 2. But the problem is, there's no game planning around this thing. Because this thing is so random. So it's like... Oh, well, even if I leave my active Pokemon, it's like, do I Giant Cape this crap, or do I Giant Cape this crap to avoid getting randomly, like, 3-shot by one thing of my active spot, and then I lose? So it's like, it's so random. This thing is going to be an RNG monster.
Yeah, I get this a 4.7.
Yeah, I give this a 4.5 out of 5, honestly, Sai. What do you give it?
Yeah, 4.5. for sure, definitely.
Yeah. Next is
Okay.
Giratina EX. And Giratina has the ability Broken Space Bellow. Once per turn,
Broken.
once during your turn,
Sorry.
you may attach one psychic energy from your energy zone. It attaches Pokemon. And if you do end your turn, 3 psychic energy plus 1 colorless. Chaotic Impact attacks for 130, but it also does 20 to itself and 150. This card is a solid 3.5 to 3.7 for me out of 5. Maybe even a bit higher. Now, the only thing that kind of with this card quite quacks is that it ends your turn. So, for example, if you wanted to use Dawn and you wanted to maybe Dawn on like a Mewtwo or something like that, no, you can't do that because the minute you stack on this thing, it's like, meh. The thing that is really strong about this though is if you lead something like a Druddigon early on, or you get some like, even like, what am I thinking of? I'm thinking of something and I can't get it off the top. Or even original Giratina, and you just stall on it, then this thing can get really annoying quick because you can just keep powering up the back end early game. It's almost like Magneton instantly, because like Magneton just keeps getting that energy, but except you don't have to evolve into it. So you're going to get that Magneton, and then the 130 pretty much becomes your Magnezone, but it's an EX to hit for that 110. I think this card is pretty strong, honestly, even despite the restrictions, because this thing, like, you can get this, like, you're not going to get multiple of this online, because obviously if you activate one, it ends the turn, but this is probably the restriction to prevent that, but you get one of these things online, it's going to be pretty strong. Just to have like an extra attacker. I can honestly, well, the fact that it takes psychic energy might detract Darkrai from playing it, but anything like colorless, like this is another way to play colorless Pokemon, I feel, because hey, if you're playing something colorless, you can just put this thing on the bench, and then be like, okay, well, you know what, I can stack this thing up, and then, get my other package going. What do you think, Sai?
I think by them doing the turn ending thing is a good way to balance this, because it would be really broken. I think if it didn't do that. But I really like it. I've been sticking with the 0.5s with my ratings, but I'm gonna have to break my rule set here and go 3.8 on this guy.
Yeah, we're right around the same thing. Yeah,
because he can do a lot. I feel like I think there's a lot of potential with Dex with him, or just even without him.
I think he's scary behind like a Druddigon, because like you're not nobody's gonna want to attack Druddy, and then you're just gonna keep powering this thing on the bench.
Yeah, it's basically like Darkrai, but like what Darkrai does on the bench, where he just pisses you off.
Yeah.
But he's gonna do it in a different way, where he's making himself stronger.
I feel it's kind of like Magneton, but you don't need the evolution or to go through any of that nonsense. So it's like, all right, you know what? Every deck that I ran Magneton in, I'm just gonna and it'd be like, it's not even bad. You could even run this with like Dialga if you wanted to, and just like, okay, well, you know what? Just throw this one random thing in, right? Because think about it, like if you go first, it makes Dialga a bit better, because you can just like, okay, I can slap Dialga, then I can slap Giratina, and then activate Broken Space Bellow, get energy on turn 1, which is broken, and then be like, all right, well, when Dialga comes, I could just even ramp this thing up with Dialga as well, if I had to. So even with something like Dialga, with like a Psychic Energy Dialga thing, with just like some other colorless crapola, then you can just do it anyway, even if you need Psychic Energy. You know what I mean, Sai?
Yeah, it's really good for the ramping decks, the stalling decks. So yeah, I really see potential with it.
Yeah, Giratina definitely looks pretty good to me. What do you think, Icy?
Yeah, I think it seems pretty decent. I'll probably go 3.2 to 3.3, somewhere around there. Like, I feel like it just depends. I don't know, like, what cards. Like, you said Druddigon, I think that seems good, but I don't know, like, what else you could run with it.
Dialga probably exactly with a Psychic deck. Because, like, everything else is just, like, with, like, some colorless.
I think, like, if you have this on the bench, like, if it's the only Pokemon on your bench, it might be a little weak to Sabrina, but no, maybe not.
Another thing that's crazy about this guy is that he has only 2 retreat costs. Like, what?
Yeah, well...
That's so low.
Well, essentially, by the time you get
this, that had 3 retreat costs.
By the time you get this stupid thing online, you're already, like, ready to go and, like, ready to retreat it anyway. So, like, it doesn't matter, like, I'll retreat myself and I'll just gain my energy back anyway. So it's like, oh, yeah, might as well not have that much of a retreat at all. And now the last
But
one,
yeah.
oh yeah. Go ahead, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it would definitely be like a 4.5 or 5, like to 5, even if it didn't end the turn. If it didn't end the turn, this
Oh
card
yeah,
would be absolutely
if it didn't
broken.
end the turn, this card would be insane. You just like stack 2 of them on the bench and then start dawning everything. But another way you could play this too is size with Gardevoir. And just like, okay, well now I get
Yeah,
another-
that's what I was thinking of that as well.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah, I think that
Just
I think
try to get
that,
it on
I
as
think
fast
the
as possible.
problem with this is like, I mean, well, no, it's not even a problem. Like if you see this thing early, I feel it's broken. Being a basic, this card makes it crazy for me because like you could even play this thing like Mewtwo. You talked about Mewtwo before, like without the evolution, you can bring this thing back with Mewtwo and start dawning everything. So like even if you don't get this thing online, you can be like, oh okay, well I'll just start Mewtwo with the active spot because I only take 2 like to do 50 damage anyway. So like you could start dawning and start hitting with Mewtwo EX early on. I just like have Giratina as like a follow-up play or a retreat out play. So like then that 50 off Mewtwo becomes more powerful, right? So like you start stacking on Giratina. The only thing is like you're gonna have to make sure you have Giratina out early, I feel, at that point. Because then the other problem is like if you see this thing too late, then it can be a huge deterrence. So I feel like this is a very early game card. But I feel like certain decks will definitely play like one of this in it, I feel. Like if you're playing a Druddigon deck, this is gonna play one of it because you're just gonna be able to stall on this thing. It's like free value for whatever reason. I think the other thing is like it being psychic. Thank God Darkrai needs a dark energy to attach to it because otherwise it would be so broken with Darkrai. It's like, okay, well I'm stacking energy on this and I'm gonna keep burning you with Darkrai. But luckily you can't do that. So yeah. All right. The last one, Tinkatongue EX. Terrific Dumping. Yo, why is it so terrific? Flip a coin, and if this does tails, it does 80 damage. And it's a stage 2. Oh, well, if you get this thing online, the thing is, it's 3 energy, which is Steel Pokemon. Hello, Dialga. Hello, next Dialga deck. How you doing? Sorry, Dialga says hello. How you doing? So if you get this thing online and it's better than Marowak, and everyone's going, oh no, another Marowak. Well, no, it's not because it guarantees the 80. So you can't get 2 heads and be toxic. If you deal, this thing can hit for 160, which is strong. You can potentially knock things out. The problem I have with it is it's a stage 2, and it may take forever to get online. However, if you're going to argue that also, Beedrill is a stage 2 as well. This thing could potentially one-shot. I think it's like a 3.2 for me. I think it's this thing will be seeing play. Obviously, this thing could be slashed into Dialga, whatever variant of Dialga you want to play. Because it's steel, and you can use Adamant with it, which is actually crazy as well. Because you can just make a steel deck around it. You could even make a steel deck around it with, like, Skarmory, if you wanted to, just start hitting early on with Skarmory, get this thing set up on the bench. It takes only 1 to attack with Skarmory, so you can just like start stacking energy on like your evolutions before this, so that way you can just like be ready to attack with this by the time your Skarmory would get set or you're ready to go, because this is 170 energy, and then have your Adam install. I kind of put it in the same pass as like Probopass Psy. In a way, it's like, oh well, you know what? This is kind of another thing you could put with Dialga. It takes a long time to get online. But then there's like a lot of ways to play with it, like Skarmory, because it's steel, Adamant, and Dialga, and whatever else. But by the time you get this thing online, you should be winning. It kind of goes in that category for me. So, what do you think, Sai? But that's where I view it.
Yeah, I agree. Stage 2, you know, takes a little bit of setup. I personally still like Probopass a little bit more because you can kind of get online a little bit quicker.
Right.
And even the Melmetal that I love running with Dialga, I think that deck is still pretty damn strong.
Yeah.
But it's kind of underwhelming, honestly, all things considered.
Yeah, I feel the same. What do you think, Icy?
I kind of wish it had like a little more HP, just because I feel like it's like a stage 3. Give it to like 180, 190,
Yeah.
200 even. Like,
I agree.
you're not to give it because like 80 damage for potentially 160. I mean, could be good,
All right.
but
Yeah.
it's just the stage 3 is just the hard part. So I'd give it like a 3.
Next,
I
we
think.
have Lono. Each player shuffles their deck into their hand and draws that many cards. To me, this is an easy 3.5 to 4 out of 5. The reason why I say this is because this card, it's a 3.5 for me. Because the problem with this is there's huge upsides and downsides. Now, this can unbrick you, but it is a -1, so keep that in mind. But at the same time, this card can also win you the game if you draw, like, usually like turn 2 or 3, because then you can draw like 5 cards. Potentially, because you'll like likely have like 6, 7 cards in your hand. So you draw like 5 or 6 cards and reshuffle your hand and get your stage 2s online. The big problem is, if your opponent bricked and you use this, you can say, hey bro, thanks for unbricking me. Alright, what do you think, Sai?
Yeah, it's very situational. I guess we won't know until we go into the meta. But like you said, it's good for stage 2s and stage 1s, like especially if you're just having the worst luck and can't find anything. And then your hand's kind of thick and you want to Iono. I guess it's fine. It's just kind of weird for me because like it goes to the whole, we'll build a better deck then, where you don't brick as often. So it's like, skill issue, bro. But I don't know. It's just it's weird. I give it a solid 3 until further notice.
What do you think, I see?
Yeah, I think it's like you'd run this in stage 2 decks, so you can draw those stage
that's what I was
2s.
thinking, yeah.
So I'd probably give it like a 3.3, because I think that you wouldn't run this in like a just an EX deck, I don't think. But like for the stage 2,
That's why, yeah.
I think you do.
Next we have Red. During this turn, attacks used by Pokemon do 20 damage to your active EX. Okay, this card is gonna be funny to combo off with, like Sudowoodo. I think this card is fine. I think that there are gonna be some weird matchups where you're like, oh no, I drew this and this does nothing. But I think that if the meta is situated around EX, depending on how much damage your things do, you might play this. So what do you guys think?
I think honestly the reason a lot of these Pokemon that came out are doing little amounts of damage, like the Charizard and the Pikachu, they're only doing 150 damage, right? So I feel like they want you to run red with this, so you can try to go above that and kind of do a little bit more, and kill things through giant capes and stuff. So this is probably what the intention of the meta is gonna maybe revolve around, more higher EX decks only. So if that's the case, then yeah, red's gonna be great. But it really just depends on the meta, I guess. So it's it's a solid 3.3 for me.
I see.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.5. I think like most of the Pokemon right now are like EXs, and like from the set we've seen like a lot of 9 EX Pokemon, I think. So like if any of these become the meta, then I think it's just gonna be, you probably will run this.
I think
but
it's
unless Lucario is like still top tier.
I think
but
this
we'll
is
see.
like,
Yeah, I was gonna say like
yeah.
the regular Lucario kind of just says like, "Fuck the red." We give this to everybody, So
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think this is like a solid 3 for me. Like, I think it has potential for sure, but right now it's like, well, kind of let's see what the meta is, and then we'll make this determination. But right now it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet, but we'll see. But it definitely, depending on what the meta is, this thing could be super, super useful. But right now it's like, all right, let's see what the meta is and see what people play out of it.
And even if we don't play it, we all know we're gonna chase that 2-star art. Like I want that 2-star red, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems so classic, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, everything's looking like sick. Next to blue, especially. Woo.
Yeah. I would say that this set is overall looking promising. I think that the thing I'm looking forward to the most probably playing is probably the lightning decks. I think those are the decks I want to play the most. Wooga Trio, I don't know if I'm looking forward to this or not. It's gonna be like, Sai, look at those worms, they're looking at you. Oh no.
Oh, bro, dude. Like, they keep buffing water decks. Like, stop.
Alright, so you can never escape Misty. What do you mean?
Oh, God.
Oh god. I'm waiting for the next water buff to say, okay, we guarantee Misty to get ahead.
Oh, no.
That's why they're giving us these electric buffs, so to deal with water, surely.
Oh,
Probably.
oh. The card, this is the card I'm more scared about than anything else in this in the box, is the Wooga Trio, honestly. I think I'm more terrified of this. It's like this thing early game is a menace.
Yeah,
It's like
it's pretty menacing for sure.
it's like
Those
oh
worms.
cool. I get Dragonite when we 3/4 the one.
Yup.
All right, so that will pretty much wrap it up here. Right now, I'm having Pokemon videos out every day. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, please do that. That is youtube.com/ShawmaTrial. I'll selfishly plug myself in my own stream. Also, go check out my boy Scyther KB, who is very kind enough to be here with us tonight, giving up his night, and a huge shout out to Icy as well. Go check their YouTubes and Twitches out. They will be doing content, I'm sure, once this new rank system
For
goes.
sure.
I will be as well. You're going to see regular Pokemon Pocket rank streams from me. I'm just waiting for the rank to really come out, to really do some more gameplay. And we definitely want to go into this new set. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The ultimate combo is we're gonna release the new Duel Link set and the new Pokemon set at the same exact time, and Sean's gonna have to choose which one to do.
Oh, wait, you know what the best part is? I already have over 5k gems grinded in Duel Links. So I'm going for 10k.
Hey,
So I can, I'm
nice,
going to try to
nice.
free to play through all this Duel Links crap so I can spend on Pokemon. How about that?
I mean, you need to get that Lucario and that red, so I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, I really honestly, if I'm gonna be really honest, sorry to my Duel Links viewers, I'd rather whale in pocket right now.
Hello.
Toxic! Right, so is that toxic?
That's pretty toxic.
Alright, boys, I think we'll stop it here. And then we'll be doing some ranked gameplay next week. Also, look forward to the daily YouTube videos that are coming out. I think we'll stop it here, boys. We're an hour and a half in.
All right, have a good
All right,
night.
man.
All right.
Take care.
Take care. All right. So we are.
Let's go. Oh, Icy just took off.
That's toxic.
It's like end of the video and for me too.
End the video for me too. I'll post this on YouTube, Si.
Yeah, same. I gotta go make mine now. So.
All right.
All right, brother.
Take care, bro.
Enjoy. You as well, man.
All right. Let me see if we can raid. Ooh, oh, we have some people here. Oh, send the raid over.